Okay, the next halacha we're going to learn is a halacha of what's called tzeidah, trapping. It's relevant even today, even though we're not out capturing animals. Now, in the Mishkan where they did the halacha of tzeidah, they used to have to catch. There was an animal, the tachash or tchoshim. It was a multicolored animal. Rashi says from the Medrash, it was only for that generation Hashem created it for the Mishkan, because it had beautiful multicolored skin. So that they needed in the Mishkan, so you used to have to trap it. Then they needed to trap the halachos and fish for the tchelis that they needed. So therefore in the Mishkan it was done the aveda of tzeidah, which is called trapping. Now what does it mean? Taking an animal, we'll see the criteria of it biblically, taking an animal and put it under your control, in a domain under your control. Taking a non-domesticated animal and bringing it under your control, that's called the halacha of tzeidah, that's called the halacha of trapping. So what are forbidden to do for tzeidah? Number one, you can't capture an animal by hand. Let's say any living creature you can't catch by hand. We'll learn even like a fly. We'll see about the flies later. But you can't capture any living creature by your hand. That's biblically forbidden. Setting a trap on Shabbos that it will catch the animal immediately is a biblical prohibition. Even if it's not going to catch the animal right away, it's still rabbinically forbidden. So you can't set out traps on Shabbos, which means, let's say you have a lot of mice in your house or whatever, and you want to put out on Shabbos a mouse trap, you wouldn't be allowed to do it on Shabbos. If you want to, let's say, they used to have those yellow strips to catch mosquitoes and flies. So if you put it out before Shabbos, it has to be before Shabbos. You're not doing, you didn't do anything. But to put out those things on Shabbos would be forbidden.
Yom is the same?
All these item are the same. It's nothing to do with you're not cooking it to eat.
How about that blue thing we used to have on the fence?
I put it out on Shabbos, you're not allowed to. You could put it out before Shabbos. Yeah, then what happens on Shabbos is not your business.
There's an animal on Shabbos.
What?
He catches the animal.
Yeah, but you're not doing it. It's happening by itself. You can't put out a mouse trap on Shabbos. Put it out on Shabbos. Or I'll give you another example. Let's say you have a mouse trap and it caught one mouse. Okay? So now the problem is the mouse is muktzah. Okay? Because animals are muktzah. And but it usually kills it. So the animal is muktzah. The dead carcass of an animal or a dead mouse is muktzah on Shabbos. So then what you want to do is reset the trap for the next mouse. But again, that you wouldn't be allowed to do either, because number one, you can't even take off the mouse from the old trap because it's muktzah. You're not allowed to move a dead animal on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to even move a live animal on Shabbos, that we'll discuss soon. You're not allowed to move. A live animal is muktzah on Shabbos, which means, muktzah means not that you can't touch it. Muktzah means you're not allowed to move it directly. Okay, you're not allowed to, the whole concept of muktzah, we'll learn it one day. Muktzah means, the Chachamim said, you're not allowed to move certain things the normal way of moving it. One of the things the Chachamim said that you're not allowed to move are animals. Okay? So you can pet a dog, but you can't pick up the dog on Shabbos. You can pet a cat, but you can't pick up a cat on Shabbos. Huh? We're not learning those dinim now. Yeah, there's a way of walking him in the street, but it's not so simple. Because if there's no eight of them, saying. So you have to, because you're carrying a leash, you have to make it in a certain way, but let's not learn those dinim now. So an animal is muktzah. So what? Okay, so, so that's, we'll see about that. But you're talking about not muktzah, you're talking about capturing animals. Because a lot of those animals are not domesticated. A deer is not a domesticated animal. An elephant, a lion, a tiger is not. So I think what they do on Shabbos, they have the goyim doing it on Shabbos. I don't know. I was never at a zoo in Israel, and definitely not on Shabbos. So I don't know what they do there. But an animal is muktzah on Shabbos. Now you can move an animal indirectly.
What if it's already in captivity? Can you catch an animal that's already in captivity?
Well, that's what we're learning now, capturing. So we'll see certain things you're allowed to capture. But let's go in order. So capturing an animal by hand is forbidden. Setting a trap that the animal will be caught right away is biblically forbidden. Even if it's not going to be caught right away, it'll be caught later is rabbinically forbidden. Confining an animal to a room, that means there's an animal in a room, not a domestic. In other words, it doesn't, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. If you own a dog, the dog is already captured. Okay, you don't have to capture your dog. It lives there. It's not capturing. But let's say it will be a different animal. Okay, you can, if an animal's in a room and you close the door, you're confining the animal in the room, so that would be a din of trapping on Shabbos. You can't even use a hunting animal. You know, it used to work, the Shulchan Aruch talks about this. They used to have dogs, hunting dogs. Yeah, that would help them get the animals and trap them and hold them and so on and so forth. So you can't trap using an animal either, because the animal is your extension. You're still capturing and trapping the animal. Okay, so now to be biblically trapping, it's in 4 conditions. Number 1, it has to be a healthy, free creature, meaning an animal that has a broken foot, let's say. There's no din of capturing on that animal, biblically. Rabbinically there is. But biblically, because the animal can't run, so he's already captured. He's so to speak, self-captured because he can't run. The malach of trapping biblically is when the animal is healthy and the animal is free and the animal could run away and you can catch it. And you're catching it, that's called biblical trapping on Shabbos. It has to be an animal that's normally trapped. It has to be confined to a small area. And also another important biblical part of trapping, just like it was done in the Mishkan, when they trapped in the Mishkan, why did they trap the choshim, the tachash animal, or the chalazon fish? Because they needed the animal. They needed the fish. They needed the chalazon fish. So biblically, the only way you're chayv trapping minat Torah is if you need the animal for some useful purpose. But we'll learn later, if you're doing it that it shouldn't hurt you, then it's not biblical, because you don't need the thing you're trapping. You just don't want it to hurt you. So then it would be, again, it's still forbidden, but it would be rabbinically forbidden. But we'll see different cases how it's a practical.
What about a fish? Let's say if a person is hungry on Shabbat, can he take like one of those, not a trap, you know what I mean, or catch it with his hand, whatever.
In the water?
In the water, yeah.
And then you can eat it raw, you mean?
Yeah, eat it raw. Yeah, a raw fish. Exactly.
Okay, sushi. But
Tuna.
taking a fish out of water on Shabbos is 2 malachos. 2 biblical malachos. Number 1, you're trapping. Number 2, you're killing. Another av malacha that we'll learn after this probably is a malacha called shchita. Shchita doesn't only mean to slaughter the animal. Shchita means killing any animal. Now when you take a fish out of water, number 1, you're trapping it. Number 2, you're killing it. So in the time of the Bais Din, you'd have to bring 2 karbanos. You can't get stoned twice. But you'd have to bring 2 karbanos because you did 2 different av malachas. What?
If someone has lice, is wearing a hat trapping him?
Well, we'll see about that too. No, we're going to come to that soon. No, if somebody has lice and you put a net or a hat on your head, is that called trapping the lice? The lice on your head are already trapped, by the way. But we'll see about bees and hornets and flies and all that. Okay, so it has to be also animals that are like a rabbit, a parrot, a deer. If somebody, now normally flies and mosquitoes are not animals you normally catch. You don't trap. You trap a rabbit, people used to eat rabbits. A deer, an animal you trap. A mosquito or a fly, nobody goes around trapping them. You try to kill them, but you don't trap them. So therefore, the biblical malach of trapping doesn't apply to an animal that you normally don't trap. So again, a mosquito, a fly, an ant, and all that stuff wouldn't be biblically forbidden. But it's still rabbinically forbidden. We'll see about that. 1 second. It also has to be a close confinement. Okay. Now, the Chachamim said, even if you're not doing it to trap the animal, you don't need the animal, you're not allowed to. Even animals that are not normally trapped, you're also rabbinically not allowed to. Okay, so let's say, for instance, okay. Another thing is, slow-moving animals, like a turtle, a snail, if they're in a room and you close the door, it's not called trapping because they ain't going anywhere anyway. They're not going too many places. So that's not called trapping. Now, what happens, this is a very practical thing. Am I allowed to catch a fly on Shabbos? Or let's say, give me a simple example. You have a cockroach in the house, right? And I want to get rid of it. So am I allowed to trap it or to put, let's say, can I put a cup over it that it shouldn't get out of there? So in that case, you wouldn't be allowed to do it rabbinically. Why? Because even though you're trapping it for no reason. I'll give you an example. A bee that stings, a hornet, because it's going to inflict pain, severe pain, so then you would be allowed to, because it's severe pain, and trapping a bee is only rabbinic to begin with, because it's not normally a sting you trap, okay, and it could hurt you and cause a lot of pain. So the Chachamim were lenient, and they said that you can capture, but not with a trap, let's say, not with a utensil which is used to trap animals.
You kill it?
Like a bee, you can't kill it.
And what happens if it's dangerous? Like some people are allergic to it.
So you get rid of it. You can't kill it. If it's a life-endangering situation, it's a different story. But normally you wouldn't be allowed to. So, like for instance, if it be severe pain, you can, placing a cup over the insect or the bug. But that's only if it's going to hurt you. If it's minor pain, so then the din is you really should try to not trap it, just push it away.
Shoo it away.
You go take a plate and just, paper plate and shoo it away. Then you're not trapping it. And you're not touching, it's not muktzah because you're not moving it the normal way that you move things. So again, all then it would be allowed. But let's say insects that do not inflict pain at all, like ant, fleas, and those stuff, you're not allowed to trap them on Shabbos. Sometimes you have a fly, you have your window open, you have a screen, and then there's a fly in between the window and the screen, and then you close the window.
You need to look them in.
So now when you close the window, you're trapping. So it's rabbinic. It's not biblical trapping because a fly is not an animal which is normally trapped. But it's still rabbinically forbidden unless if there's holes in the screen that the fly can fly out of, so then it's not called trapping because he can get out. So you're not trapping him. But just to close a window on a fly or a mosquito, whatever, that's, so then you can't do it. The big problem is really if you have, let's say, a little bug, water bug or a cockroach or whatever, and everybody's freaking out from it. Why, I don't know, but they're freaking out from it. So you can't trap it. You could really, you could take it in a cup, okay? Not because it still can get out. And then you throw it out the door, if you'd be allowed to carry there. Or you throw the cup out the door or, then it wouldn't be trapping. You're not trapping it. It can still get out. You're not putting a cup over would be trapping it. Or the best thing is just to move it away with a napkin or, because then you're not even touching it the normal way of doing it. I'll tell you what is the shah. We're going to leave it with this and we'll continue Mishum tomorrow. That if you have a bird in a bird cage, because a bird flies all over the place, it's considered an animal that you capture. And if you have a bird in a bird cage, it's a very big problem, but we'll discuss it more. I just want to make people aware. If you have a bird in a bird cage and the door is open, you can't close the door of the bird cage. So you have a problem. How do I feed the bird? So I have to open the cage in such a way, the door, that I put my hand in the way that the bird really can't escape. So then it's anyway trapped the whole time. So then I can feed it that way, but it's a big problem.